Okay, so let's all get started. Let me hit the record button. And we go. Record. I think it's time for me to update my computer. Everything is lagging. There we go. Okay, we are recording. Okay, folks. Well, welcome to the Go for Diamond call this evening. And this evening, we're going to be covering the following up on week 4 on the Success Formula Training 101. So let me change the speaker view here and let me just organize. Sorry, JP, didn't mean to put you on the spot there. And let's put Tammy at the pin. Here we go. And let's go with full screen. Okay. So I think we are getting ready to rock. Perfect. Okay, so as you know, for the past 4 weeks, I know there might have been some sequence where in some segments we had, calls like we invited Jonathan Flicker and so forth. And we started a Success Formula training call 101 program, Success Formula 101 training program, which is a 4-week segment. And we started with the very first week was the foundation of success, which had to do with uh, understanding success, setting your goals, time management, and productivity. And what you will find is as we go through the segments this evening, you're going to find some things we're going to talk about that literally cross reference. That's the reason why it's really important to go through the week 1, week 2, week 3, and today is week 4, which is the last segment of the Success Formula 101 training program. And as this call is taking place, if you happen to be coming after the call is taking place, if you go under the comment section, you'll notice that if you go on week 4, for example, you will see week 1, 2, and 3. So you can go back to the previous week. If you fall into week 2, you'll see week 1 and so forth. You know what I'm talking about. The reason why I'm doing this is because it's really important to follow the sequence. And folks, through these sequence, Tammy and I literally reveal a lot of the basic principles that we have applied in our lives, in our business practices, and every aspect that has resulted in the lifestyle that we currently have here. The second week, we talked about leadership and influence, which is such an important aspect. And we really do recommend you go back there and listen to this recording. And the last training we did last week was week 3, which is strategic planning and execution. In other words, plan, do, and review. And that's kind of the summary a bit, but it's more details, understanding the strengths and weaknesses, the opportunity, the threats, and all of the things that gets in the way as we build our businesses. And understand that this can be, we're talking about our network marketing business here, but understand that this can apply in every aspect of your life in whatever it is that you're trying to accomplish. And again, as I mentioned this evening, we're talking about personal development and growth. Maybe I didn't mention that, but that's what we're talking about this evening is personal development and growth, which is week 4. These segments are generally about 60 minutes. And really the objective is to provide, our team members, participate in the strategies to kind of cultivate a growth mindset, maintaining motivation. We know these are all the important aspects in building our business. Come into continuous learning. Understand, folks, if you don't evolve, if you don't learn, you will find that you're going to be left behind a little bit because technology today is just part of our daily operations. So, but the other thing too is, it's the healthy work and life balance. Right now, Tammy and I, had to kind of readjust ourselves because everything is changing, and we have a lifestyle that requires a minimum income. And what's happening here is we had to do some life changes, style changes a little bit to be able to adjust. So we're back to working 80% of the time and play 20% of the time instead of having the 50-50. But we want to talk about the importance of work balance. But keep in mind that when you start something, and you start rebuilding again, you start moving forward, you need to put more effort at the beginning. I always use the example of a plane taking off. The plane, as it takes off, it's going to take a significant amount of the fuel percentage to get off the ground. But once you're on the air, then you are on a maintenance. You are simply maintaining the speed with the current momentum that you started. So, and that's a lot how our business have been. But obviously, there's going to be things that in our lives will kind of force you to kind of make some adjustments, and don't fear the adjustments. So tonight is really, that's the objective, is the personal development and the growth that is necessary to be able to function and actually be productive in our society as we keep evolving. So the very first part we want to talk about is mindset and motivation. And I know it may seem a little simplistic when we talk about, okay, what's the difference between growth mindset versus fixed mindset? It's important we lay out the groundwork, because there is a difference, and a pretty significant difference. Because the definition and the difference in a growth mindset, this is the belief that that gives you the ability to evolve, to develop, right? To kind of, I don't want to say more intelligent. Everybody's intelligent. You know what I'm talking about generally as we're born. But the thing is, how do you cultivate your mind will determine how far you're going to go, right? So with efforts and learning and perseverance, perseverance, it's in English, it doesn't come out right. What happens is you will find that you will end up in a different mindset than others. If you go back, for example, the exact example is a fixed mindset. That's a belief that the ability and the intelligence is static and unchangeable. And folks, there's a lot of folks that are like that. So if we talk about the characteristics of growth mindset, let me list this because it's really important you understand the difference. Is embrace challenges. Don't fear the challenge. Embrace them, because the challenges, it's like building muscle. You'll become more effective in our society dealing with those challenges if you persist through the setbacks that often today, like our economy will impose on you, right? See efforts as a path to mastery, which is, again, that's one of the characteristics, right? Learn from criticism. If someone gives you criticism, don't get offended or don't get defensive, but accept it and understand that we can always improve. And find inspiration in others or others' success. I love to see other people succeed, because when I see other people succeed, for me, it shows that it's possible. It can be done. I just need to apply the same rule. Now, what are they doing? They're inspiring me. So the fixed mindset, again, is they avoid challenges, right? They see a challenge and they complain and they walk away and they back away. They give up easily. They see effort as fruitless. It's not worth it, right? They ignore useful feedback, which are critical, that can completely change their direction and their lives and their results forever, in a positive sense of the word. They'll feel threatened by others' success. And it's really interesting because you'll see that through some people. When they see other people succeed, instead of embracing it, they become critical and even even destructive. And it's unfortunate, but these folks are just not going to grow. So understanding this, then we can kind of be in a better position to kind of evolve or accept what needs to be done to evolve. And in today's economy and in today's world, the way the world functions, adapting is such an important thing. And we'll talk further about this. So this is the difference between the growth mindset versus the fixed mindset. So back to you, Tammy.
Yeah, and there's a lot of people that have grown that we've been working with over the years. And what we notice most is what's really important is to give people assignments and let them do the assignment. Give them a week to do the assignment, and you set up another session. That's when you know who's growing and who's not growing. And from there, you may have to adjust the assignments. It might be a little bit too much for some people. And that's why mentoring is so important in our business, to help people evolve, help people get to that next level, throw a challenge out to them. And some will do it. And those who do are the ones that evolve. I know that in the last 4 or 5 years, we've learned a lot of skills, and we didn't have a choice to learn these skills. For years, we were traveling and traveling and traveling and traveling and, in front of audiences. And then all of a sudden you're standing behind this screen, and it was just so weird. but we had to adjust. And the more we did it, and for those who did it, for those who were presenting and got really good at presenting, those are the ones that were growing, evolving in their business. Those are the ones that were reaching ranks, increased income. So those are the people that you really want to spend your time with. And I always say, love everybody where they're at. It's so important. Everybody, they're in the business for their own reasons. And some will move faster than others based on mindset, based on disciplines, based on their environment. A single mom that's got a bunch of kids and she has a full-time job, she's not going to be running like for example, a married couple. The husband's focused on the business, the wife's doing the stuff for the family so that he can spend the time to do that. So every situation is so different in our business, but these assignments are critical. If you want to grow, do assignments and evolve. Okay. And so the different techniques of maintaining momentum is motivation, obviously, is goals. Okay, to be motivated, you need something in front of you that's going to move you, that's going to move the needle, that's going to get you up in the morning and get you passionate and excited to do this. And when you set goals, which we've done already, I think we must have mentioned it a couple times through the last three weeks, Chris, that's how important it is. And that's you got to know the big picture. What's the big picture of what you want to do? The rank that you want to be at, the income level you want to be at. What's the big thing? Maybe you're aiming to purchase a new house. Maybe, you're sick and tired of driving that car that's getting you from A to B and you want to have a better car. Maybe you want to save money to put your kids in a better school. What is important for you is the most important thing, because if that's going to drive you to get up in the morning and do what it takes to succeed, then that's got to be on your, for me, it's all about vision boards. It's got to be in front of you. That's what's going to get you going. Okay. And then celebrate the small wins along the way, because you're not going to reach that big goal right away. And you're probably not going to reach it in 3 to 6 months, because it's big, right? I'm sure that you guys have big goals and it's big, and you just got to take those little bites. Like they say, how do you eat an elephant? One bite at a time. How do you get to your big goal? One step at a time. But make sure that you celebrate the wins. Okay. And don't beat yourself up along the way, because you're learning and you're growing. Okay. And then find your why. That's what's gonna, as we always say, your why is gonna make you cry. Well, how do you establish that? Well, speak out loud why you want to do this. And then from there, ask yourself why, whatever you said, the reason why you want to do this. And then keep going into those layers of why. How's it going to make you feel? What is the outcome of all of this? And ask yourself questions along the way. You'll get emotion. You will. So when you break down those layers, peeling that onion of the why, because the initial why is never the real why. It's what it's going to do for you and your family. And there is an emotional attachment often that comes from childhood when you break that down. So you got to know why you're doing this. And whys will evolve. They always do. I remember, Chris, my first why was to be at home with my kids. Now my kids are gone, so I need to evolve in my why, right? So there's always evolution. And then stay positive, you guys. It's in today's environment, if the news is affecting you, if people around you are affecting you in a negative way, walk away from it. If it's not serving you to move you forward, to live the life that you want, you need to walk away from it. Like Chris says, he needs to learn all this stuff because, it helps him. He's also a trader, so it helps him in doing this. So he needs to know what's going on in the world. but in general, not allowing anything to affect you. And people, things, whatever it is. And accountability. Again, accountability is everything. We're not going to be accountable to ourselves. Let's face it. Most people, you write down your tasks that you're going to do that day. Often, you're not going to do it. You're going to, get away with some things. You're going to have a day where you don't feel like it. We're human beings, right? We need somebody to keep us on track. And your spouse, sorry, but your spouse is not going to keep you on track. Unless they're drill sergeants like me, right, Chris? But
Yes, drill sergeant.
For reality, you need to have somebody outside of that. Chris and I, our accountability partner is Eric Worre. I mean, this guy literally kicks our butts, everybody's butts, to get to the next level in such a intense way. So we need that, right? Because that's what keeps us in our game. So you need somebody who's going to keep you accountable for everything that you say you're going to do. All right. And then overcoming any objections and setbacks. Chris, maybe you can share that with everybody.
Yeah, absolutely. And again, folks, just to recap, so we can follow the sequence and the structure of what we're doing here this evening is the segment one that we're talking about here is mindset motivation. We just talked about the growth mindset versus fixed mindset. And then Tammy talked about the techniques for maintaining motivation, which are very, very important. That was number two. Number three is overcoming obstacles and setbacks. And this is something that today is part of life. Before, maybe it was things would occur all the time. That's how we evolve. But today, the frequency of setbacks is a lot more intense, and you have to reframe challenges. For example, I know that in Max we have some markets that have been that are closing down, and why? It's because the inflation has caused such an impossibility for the company to remain what's the not positive
Profitable.
not productive, profitable.
Profitable.
Just didn't want to come out. And to be profitable, it's important because if you want to stay for the long term, some of those things needs to be adjusted. And it was saying that, well, okay, so maybe these markets are not operating in a sense that there's no offices there, but I know there's people that are willing and able and capable of shipping products in these markets. So it opens an opportunity for those people where instead of ordering small amounts that they were before, now they're ordering $1,000 amount per month, for example, to ship over there to some of their clients to retail. So they make money on the retail aspect through the compensation plan genealogy because they have a position in Max and they order their products. So my point in saying is you have to reframe challenges and not look at challenges as the end of all, but adjust to them. And sometimes you have to make little changes here and there to be able to overcome the obstacles. And you need to learn to grow. This is very important. And those of you that are adapting to these things that are kind of changing, I'm telling you, not only you will survive these things, but you will thrive because it will be a time where, again, things will flow. I'm telling you, it's just a cycle of life. And sometimes we look at this in our time frame and we think that it's, my God, what's happening to the world? Well, things like this has been happening since the beginning of time. It's just that there's different times that occurred every 100 years, every 50 years, every 1,000 years, and things change. And you have to develop resilience. This is very important. That's why education is such an important process. I have to admit that one thing that I don't do enough is breathing exercises, meditation. It's such important. It's so important because it's like a spa for your brain, for your mind, and this is something that I'm lacking. That I need to improve on that. It's part of the steps and kind of develop resilience, right? So it's not such a big deal, even though it might be a big deal, but you're in a better position to handle the situation, to manage the techniques to be able to handle. And it's very interesting where, maybe 10 years ago, maybe even 5 years ago, facing all the challenges we're facing today would have been doomsday for us. But today it's like just another day. right? We'll just figure it out and we'll kind of work around it. And we do. We always come up with some solution of some kind to kind of around, and we did, and because of that, we're developing the resilience we had 5 years ago. And trust me, there were some challenges in 2016 and 2018, but nothing compared to what we're facing today. And now it's again, it's just an everyday operation. It's just another decision we need to make and how we're going to go from there. So developing resilience is important. And I think one of the problems that people go through in business, I'm not talking network marketing, I'm talking in business, is they walk away thinking it's not working too quickly. They don't sit back and start reflecting, okay, how can I overcome this? Or developing the resilience by having strong belief, strong goals, strong why, keeping a positive attitude. Every morning, sometimes I wake up and I feel kind of, and the first thing that I do is I start where I'm healthy, I am wealthy, I am grateful, I am happy. And I will repeat that over and over and over. And Tammy doesn't even know that. This is what happens in my head. And it's really interesting because on Sunday, I had 2 leads that popped in, and good leads, very interested. Just like that. And again, I really truly believe that you attract what you think about. We've been talking about this for years. You attract what you focus on. And this is what I mean by, reframe challenges, develop the resilience, and keep and stay in a positive mindset. It is so, so, so important. And the last point in overcoming obstacles and setbacks is seek for support. I got people that will be calling me, that will be reaching out. Tomorrow I have some Zoom with some associates to talk about some strategies. One is later on different countries and so forth. And the thing is, we're going to be talking. There's 2 different countries, 2 different people I'm going to be talking about tomorrow. They're reaching out for support. They're reaching out for advice. They're reaching out for mentorship. So seek support from your peers, from the people around you that are facing the same problems you're facing. And it looks like they always seem to be on top of their game. Not all the time. It may seem that way, but we just kind of developed, again, the different frame to deal with the challenge. We develop resilience to deal with the challenges. And trust me, there are some. And we just have to work around it. And of course, seeking support is such an important aspect. So that was number 3. Now we're going to move into segment number 3. So segment number 2. We just finished segment number 1. Again, just to recap, segment number 1 was the mindset and motivation. Segment number 2 is continuous learning. So Tammy, why don't you go ahead and cover that?
Yeah, it is so important to have lifelong learning. For years, we've evolved. And I see a lot of you evolve over the years in different skill sets. And so write down one thing right now that you would like to evolve in to help you get to the next level in your business, whether it's an income level, rank level. Well, hit a new rank, your income increases, right? So write down one thing that you like to get better at. And search for learning that you can evolve in that skill. Chris and I have spent a lot of money over the years investing in ourselves in developing new skills, and we're constantly working on ourselves. I know myself, if I'm going to go big on social media, I need to learn how to do email marketing. That's the big thing. Once I have the interest, plugging them in, right? So I've been doing a lot of that in the last year. And I'm still in the learning process, but I found it's funny, when you put it out there, I need to learn email marketing, something popped up in my feed. And of course, I invested in it so that I'm going to take it to another level. And it's how to evolve in network marketing with email marketing. So I'm going to be spending my week every morning, and I'm going to be working on that, doing a little bit every single day. That's the key, you guys, a little bit every single day. And the benefits, obviously, is to be competitive in our field. If you want to grow, you need to be competitive in our field. it's going to develop you in another way. And you'll be fulfilled when you learn these skills. It's a good feeling when you learn these skills. And then when somebody else doesn't know how to do it, you're able to guide them through the process. Nothing worse than saying, I don't know, right? So learn so you can help your team members grow. And don't wait for other people to learn something so that they can show your team members how to do it. You know, it's important that you're evolving continuously and adapt to the change. We can't stress that enough. Adapt to the change and evolve, okay? Innovate and evolve. And so real world examples would be watch all the people on social media. I like to watch people on social media. I've watched so many individuals through the network marketing field, because that is our field, evolve in such big ways. I follow them. I want to see what they're doing. And I do the things that they're doing, because if you want to succeed, follow the people who are ahead of you. And again, invest in yourself, do courses, and you'll see. You're going to know who's evolving in the group here. You're going to know who's evolving around you in Max, right? You're going to know, because they're the ones that are going to get to other levels. Okay. And two, Chris, I'm done. One. So you're going to go with two?
Yeah, absolutely. So creating your personal development. So again, Tammy talked about the importance of lifelong learning. And number two is creating and develop a personal development plan. Like, plan your education. This is what Tammy and I do. We know what we need to evolve to do what we want to do. So what's the very first thing that you need to do? Guys, put it in the chat. Think about it. You want to create a plan, a personal development plan. What's the very first thing that you need to work on? Just think about it. What's the very first step? Anybody's willing to share? Be wonderful to hear this. Just before I say the word. Okay, the mindset is good, but it's so definitely is, it's part of developing your plan is your mindset. Anybody else? Anybody else? Take a chance. Just put something. Doesn't matter. There's really no right, wrong answers here. That's correct. Where you have weaknesses. Anybody else? Maripol, I appreciate that you're stepping in right away. Anybody else willing to step in? So while you're doing this and thinking about it, is number one is self-assessment, which goes to the point of identify your strength, weaknesses, an area of improvement. So Maripol, you were dead on. So you need to do an inventory on yourself. What are the things that you're good at, and what are the things that you're not so good at? Identify these things first. And then from there, set some learning goals. Define what you want to learn and why, right? You don't want to just pay for a course just because it sounds interesting. I mean, it could be, and if you have the time in your hands, cool. But generally, if you're going to pay for a course or you're going to put time into it, there's generally a reason why you want to do this. Why do you want to take this course? I need to improve. I want to start playing the piano, or I want to start playing the guitar, or I'd like to dance with my wife in a ballroom. So maybe, it would be nice. I know. Tammy's been asking me for years, why don't we take dance classes so we can do ballroom dancing and work on our relationship? Not that we have any issues, just to be able to go, you know what I mean, to evolve together. So, you know what I'm saying? Why would you want to pay to learn something from someone else? So identify these things. And if you recall, on the very first segment of week 1 and week 3, last week it came back, we talked about it again. I think we might have referenced it even on week 2, is use SMART criteria to make your goals specific and actionable. Actionable. Okay, I think you know what I'm talking about. Okay, so very important is to identify these goals that are specific. It's wonderful to say, well, I'd love this big house. I love these nice cars. I'd love to get this vacation. That's wonderful, but you need to be specific, time frame, and why you really want this. Do you really want this? Right? Because if you don't really want this, the next thing there's an objection or a distraction, you're not going to do it. You're going to quit. You're going to move on to something else. And unfortunately, we see this all the time. Some people have so much talent, but they just sit on it. They just don't move forward with it. Why? Because there is no clarity. There is no assessment that it's something that they really need or want. Very important, right? And then from there, take the steps towards it, right? Outline the steps that you need to achieve those new learning goals that you want to achieve. Enroll into these courses. We know there's a lot of courses out there, and we'll give you some examples here in a minute. But the fact here is, and some will be more expensive than others. Absolutely. You have to decide how much you are willing to invest into your personal growth. I can tell you at time I've invested a lot of money, but we also made a lot of money. So it's all relative to what you're willing to invest into. And I'm not saying you need to spend a lot of money at all, because you can spend a lot less money with a program that could be tailored to exactly what you need, right? So this is the point that we want to talk about when it comes to creating a personal development plan. Self-assessed, set the learning goals, and take the action step towards them. And show up for class, folks. Show up for class. Don't just be what does Eric call it? A tourist, right? Be a participant and get involved and participate into it. And this is how you will grow into it. So tell me, what are some of the resources that we can share with the folks here?
You know what, Chris, in the chat, Marie Paul is the only one that participated. And I'm going to put you guys on the spot because that's how we all evolve and grow. One thing, just write one thing, because there's a few of you on this session today. I know it's summertime and a lot of people don't show up to class, but one thing, you guys, what is one thing right now that you're working on or you plan to work on in helping you grow your business? I know, Sylvie, you wrote something directly to me. Just put everyone and share that in the group with everyone. One thing, you guys, one.
Well, Sylvie put in as to be good at email marketing, which is such an important aspect today.
Perfect. And we can go back and forth because we're both working on the same thing and keeping each other accountable. So it's great. Who else? Come on, you guys. I'm gonna push you. That's how you get out of your comfort zone, right? I know every single one of you are so capable, every single one of you, to grow. I know it's Monday night and we want to chill out, but let presentations. Yes, MC. Awesome. Improve on presentations. Following Mastermind with Tony Robbins, fantastic. He is totally awesome. And who else? Allison, Barbara Ann, throw something out there. And by the way, I just want to say welcome, Chris. John and Devon showed up. And just want to welcome you guys to Max and checking out how our trainings are being done tonight.
Yeah, certainly welcome.
Okay, what do we have, Alice? More one-on-ones? Yes. Working more in my back office and connecting to more people. Fantastic. Listening to podcasts, leadership, communication. Awesome. See, sometimes you need somebody behind being what do we call them, Chris? You call me a drill sergeant. And that's how we get people engaged in moving forward. So thank you for participating. And okay, so let's go into, I believe you said segment number, oh no, the resources. No, so that was number 3 in segment number 2 with continuous learning. Chris put the resources for you that you have accessible on the different books.
And Tammy, I just want to add a note on this.
Mm-hmm.
The books here, they're really, really good books, right? I think we're just pointing them. We have absolutely no affiliate of any kind. We just found some books on Amazon. I believe they're all on Amazon because they're easy access. Most people can order them. They're delivered quickly, and they're phenomenal books. And these are some of the recommended books that we have there. And I believe if you click on them, all the links should be working. And if not, just do let me know. The
And you
second
can
one
always
here
search for them.
is we created a site, Tammy, called Commit to Transform. This is kind of like it has to do with health and wealth and so forth. It's all there. If you click on that link, it will take you to courses. Now, as you know, Tammy and I are a big fan of Eric, and we've been following him for years. And he has some courses that are not expensive, some course obviously that are a bit more expensive, and you can choose what you find there. And again, it may not be. I know that there's. I always forget. I have blanks sometimes.
Fraser
Book
Brooks
Fraser
has
Books
some
has
great
great
content.
some great contents
Yeah.
in there, and there's others, but I like Eric, I like Fraser, and there's many others that maybe you can relate to more, and it's entirely up to you. This is just a reference, and but I know Eric is in line with the network marketing arena, and he will tell you what you need to hear, not what you want to hear, what you need to hear, and he's very good. He's very bold about it. There's a lot of tools that we use around him because we've seen success by a lot of the philosophy, which is interesting as a lot of time what he teaches, we've been doing by default. It's common sense. And that's the reason why I like Eric, because what he teaches is common sense. Without even knowing that he's going to teach that, we do it because again, 1 + 1 equal 2. I mean, it's math. You don't dispute that. It's just, these are constants. These are things that are, it's the way it's math. So, and that's what it is. So a lot of these principles they will teach, it's just basic principles that are just common sense. And that's what I like about him. And he's very clear about them. So again, you can choose to look into it, browse into it, see if it makes sense. And again, these are some of the resources. Back to you, Tammy.
Yeah, and always have a mentor. You got to have somebody who's going to kick your butt, that's going to get you to move the needle. Somebody who's going to inspire you to grow. Somebody's going to bring you resources like this. That's going to help you evolve in skill sets, in mindsets, and always working with somebody. Don't try to do this business alone because it's going to be difficult to do it alone. And, network marketing is about team. It's about creating culture within the team. It's about helping people evolve. And if you're sponsored by somebody who's not moving, then often you have to go up to see who's there in the line that can help. And then you plug people into this stuff. Those of you who are helping people that are not your direct personals, plug them in. There's so many, I always say there's so many orphans in this industry where they were sponsored by somebody, their sponsor is not committed, and then they don't move. As Eric Worre says, the moment you get started, say thank you to your mentor and get to work, and do the work. It's all about the people below you, who you bring in that you need to support. And he very much believes that you don't need somebody to be there for you. You can be that person. But mentorship is important for guidance. Okay, not for somebody to do it for you. That's for sure. I teach people how to fish. Don't do the fishing for them. And segment number 3, Chris, that's when we're going into that work-life balance. But I think before we go, like, work-life balance is important, but not all the time. You're going to go into campaigns. You're going to go into drives where you're going into momentum, where there is no work-life balance. Honestly, there's been no work-life balance up until just recently for Chris and I, just to have to reinvent ourselves, to give it another push and stuff like that, to evolve in new skills. We've done a lot of that in the last year that has helped us get to where we are today.
Yes. And by the way, if you happen to be on Facebook Live, I posted the link for the books and some of the courses. And again, you feel free to venture into all of that. Now, segment number 3, again, just to recap quickly, again, we talk about segment 1, which is mindset and motivation. We talked about that. Segment number 2 is continuous learning. We've just covered that. Segment number 3 is work-life balance. And folks, this is really important. Now, as Tammy stated, Tammy and I right now, we're in a mode where we are, I wouldn't say I guess, burning the candle on both ends because we are redefining ourselves. So you have to use your judgment and common sense, right? At one point, you have to decide what matters most. But then it's going to be a time where you've achieved a certain level, and then people are so used to this kind of lifestyle of working and that constant pressure. You have to be careful because you need to start recognizing the signs of burnout. You know, we hear in our industry, in the network marketing industry, that there's some amazing networkers that are completely burnt out, right? They're emotionally exhausted, right? Their performance is not like it used to because of everything they're facing, and they're not taking breaks. So even though, Tammy, are intense, trust me, we take our breaks. Often we're going to go in the morning for a nice breakfast. We try to stay as healthy as possible when we don't eat home. It's a different environment, as we all know. But, and also is to learn to detach yourself from the outcome that may not always be desirable as you're working so hard, you know, or you're working for so many years, and maybe you feel that you've never really got what you really deserve, right? So you need to take some time for yourself and recognize those things. And sometimes it's good to give yourself a little tap on the back, because sometimes no one will do it for you. You have to do it to yourself. And it goes back to time you talk about mentoring, which is, that's why having a mentor, it's important, because a lot of time these guys can recognize the work that you're doing. They see how you're evolving, and it's wonderful to hear this from someone else. So one thing that we talked about earlier about stress management and techniques, you know, to kind of try to create that synergy, an environment of serenity, right? You need to practice, you know, mindfulness and meditation. And I know I'm the first one, and I keep telling myself, and for me, it's like a bit of pulling teeth, standing there and doing nothing. But the thing is, I'm aware of the importance of it. In fact, I'm starting, there's a program that Tammy been paying for years through an online service that provides all of these meditation techniques. And it's actually really interesting. So this is something I need to work on. So I'm being transparent with you. This is what I need to work on. But these are wonderful. Exercise regularly. That I can tell you, Tammy, are fully engaged with that, right? 3 to 4 times a week, we will exercise. And if we're not exercising, then we're going to do a 4 to 5 kilometer walk in the morning before we start our day, right? The last thing you want to do is you wake up in the morning, and again, we're guilty of it, is you go right into your computer room and boom, you start reading your emails, you start going to your text, you start going to WhatsApp, Facebook Messenger, Telegram. It doesn't end. And next thing you know, you're like nonstop responding and going through all the situation that may occur. Sometimes it's wonderful. Sometimes you wake up in the morning, it's like hell broke loose for whatever reason, and you need to do it. I recommend that you don't touch your devices until you've done this morning regular exercise, which is absolutely critical. You know, take regular breaks and vacations. We don't do enough of that, Tammy and I. Being honest, we haven't done a good vacation for a long time. Now, we've done a lot of wonderful trips with Max, you know, with all the events and the diamond retreats and everything else, when that was something that we were doing on a regular basis. But the fact here is, outside of this, we haven't really taken a vacation for ourselves. Again, this is something that we need to do, but we will take some time off, right? We'll detach and at least 50%, where we still carry our phones, we still have our laptops with us, but we're not in our office, right? We're going to go visit the family and spend some time doing a bit of camping, kayaking, whatever. So these are things that are very, very important. So you need to have a work balance. Otherwise, what's the point of all of this? Take the time for yourself. So I know Alice does a lot of sculpting, you know, you sculpt and painting and all of these things. And it's that is such wonderful thing. And it's probably a way for you to detach. You know, I know you're a strong business woman, and you've done great for yourself. And this is probably how you detach yourself, and you're really good at it. So, and that's the thing, folks, is you need to find things that you can break free from that regular, constant, and maybe some of you have things I'm just not aware of. I just know about Alice. But the fact here is that it's important to find stress management techniques. Very important, especially in today's society. Everybody wants more for less. And you know what I mean? They want more, they want to pay you less, and everything's more expensive. And so it's stressful. Everybody's on edge. You know, you drive in Toronto. It's funny because we were in Florida for a period of time. We come back to Toronto and say, God, it's a different world. People drive very aggressive right now. What's going on? But that's the thing, right? People are stressed and people feel what's going on. So that's really, really important. So Tammy, I'm passing this over to you for the importance of health and well-being, because I know you're I'm grateful for what you do
Right up my
for.
alley, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, your physical health is so important. You need to take time to do some type of exercise. Even if you're at a disadvantage or have some chronic pain and stuff, do your homework on what you can do and slowly strengthen certain areas. Because I know I've had injuries over the years. I've always been in sports, and I had to do, therapy, recovery stuff, and slowly rebuild again. And so I know what it feels like. I've never had any major car accidents or anything, thank God. But I have had injuries that sometimes it takes longer than you expect to get some healing. But I don't just sit around and wait for the healing. I'm proactive. I search for ways of doing some therapy on strengthening certain areas. So that's really, really, really important, especially when we work from home. See, I'm standing up, as you can see, my chair is there. I do a lot of standing, you guys. And when I stand, when I'm working, obviously not on a training call, but I'm going to do squats. I've got my bands. I've got little things that just keep my body circulating. And then I'll go out. Anybody knows what I got for my birthday? Who knows what I got for my birthday? A rebounder. Anybody have a rebounder? Oh my gosh, they are the best. If you don't have a rebounder, they're not that expensive. So you can get a rebounder on Amazon. I know we got it on Amazon. And at first it was just me doing it. And now Chris is getting into it. Now every evening we do the rebounding first thing in the morning, get things flowing. You got to move. You got to get the lymphatic drainage happening in the body. And even if you have sore kneecaps, you don't have to do much. You can just start moving your body a little bit, and you're going to strengthen your legs. I notice a huge difference in my legs and my midsection since I got the rebounder. And so I absolutely love it. Get one that has a handle. It's important to do that so you don't fall or lose your balance, but it's good to do that. And then of course we've got this T-Vibe thing, and I see these people with them. You don't need sophisticated stuff, you guys. You gotta move yourself. You gotta move your body, even if it's crappy outside. If you have stuff that you can move yourself inside, it's perfect. Make a routine. You got to make a routine, because that's how you're gonna get the results. When you start getting results, what happens? You get more positive. You want to do it regularly. At the beginning, it's like pushing yourself sometimes. And then, of course, mental health. We all need to work on that. Every single one of us, we got to practice mental health too. And what's really good for that is journaling. Does anybody journal? That really, really helps. Journaling, what's going on in your life, journaling stuff to keep your mind sharp. I like doing puzzles. Anybody like doing puzzles? I like doing puzzles. Puzzles keep my mind sharp, like different things that you can do, different types of relaxing techniques, breathing techniques, very, very important. But your well-being is absolutely the most important thing. And of course, we know, I don't have to tell any of you this, we have incredible products with Max. Incredible. I love, love, love our products. And as you guys know, we've been on these products since day one, so over 17 years now. And my absolute favorite We've all went through the challenges that happened in the last 4 years for product on demand, but the one that I absolutely can't go without is Celgevity and ATP. I don't know about you guys, but Celgevity, ATP, and Max One too. I saw a huge difference in my energy with Max One. I add Max One to Celgevity, by the way. 61 years old. I still need to stay sharp. We're training like crazy right now, and because we can. And obviously we're careful too, but we're doing new techniques to increase the muscle tone, because going into aging, you need to have strong muscle tone. And you need to be able to sit on a chair and get up, like things that, to be able to lift something up, to put it on a top shelf, you need to be able to do these things. So little weights, you can do whatever you want. But another really important thing that I can share before, Chris, you do the next one, is protein. A good source of protein. Your muscles need protein. If you're not getting enough protein in your diet, that's not good going into aging. Okay, so you need a good source of protein. I like to do a combination of vegan proteins and of course different sources of proteins. So yeah, that's about it when it comes to health, Chris.
Sure. And the other point here is time management, folks. It's very important, is use like time blocking. And if you go back to segment number 1, the very first training, and again, once this session is done, I will add the other session that we did into the comment section, and allocate some time for both work and personal. Very important. Identify those and be flexible. Sometimes you may have to make some adjustment, and that's, again, it's as needed, right? Sometimes plans has to adjust. It's not always linear, and we all know that. So folks, in a summary, to recap again, I just want to come back very quickly here. This is week 4. We talk about personal development and growth. Segment number 1, we talk about mindset and motivation. We talk about the difference between the growth mindset and a fixed mindset. We cover the characteristics. And then we talked about the techniques to maintain motivation. Very important. Your goals, your why, staying positive, accountability. And we talked about overcoming obstacles and setbacks, reframe challenges, and develop resilience. Very important. Seek support. And then segment number 2 is continuous learning. Very important. And we talked about these things. So important. What are the benefits? Again, you want to stay competitive, right? You want to grow and evolve and be fulfilled. You want to adapt, right? And very important. And we talked about creating a personal development plan, right? Self-assessments. What are your strengths? What are your weaknesses? What are the areas you need to improve on? And then set some learning goals. Where you need to evolve. And then from there, just kind of take some action steps, move forward towards it. And then there's some resources. We've given you some links in reference to, here are great books. Now, some of you are going to go follow through. Some of you won't do it. It's entirely up to you. We're here to guide you. You have to decide what you want to do with that information. And then we have the online courses. Again, I'm very strong in focus on Eric Worre, because I find that it's a one-stop shop and everything you need is there, in line to what we are here about to talk about. Let me talk about the mentorship, which is very important. And the last segment is the work-life balance, right? Recognize the signs of burnout, stress management techniques. Let me talked about some of the physical health and mental health. Very, very important, right? And set some boundaries. Prioritize. What are the things that are important? And then from there, the time management, and be flexible. Very, very important. And at the end of the day, folks, what's important here is what matters to you. What matters to you. And identify what's important. Everybody around you may tell you what's important. You have to decide what's important. And what we're telling you is do inventory about what matters to you and focus on those. Tammy and I, we've always been network marketers. We've created an incredible residual income. Many of you knows we don't do winters anymore. That's by design. And we've created the lifestyle,
we don't do cold
the income
winters anymore. We don't do snow.
Yeah, we don't do snow. What did
anymore.
I say? We don't do snow. So in other words, but again, that's by design. It's not by luck. everything is by design. We need to create an income stream that's able to support these two properties. This is started in 2013. We've been having these two properties since then. And we've been doing very well. And folks, it's not about bragging. It's upon to impress upon you that all of these are possible if you have a specific guideline and a game plan to reach those things. And you have to stay the course. Too many people stop and start and stop and start and stop and start. I use the example. If you want to take off from a plane and the pilot keeps slapping the brakes, you're never going to get the speed to be able to have the amount of air to lift the plane off the ground, and then from there to push the fuel. And so it's very important that you stay the course to maintain the speed to get into momentum. And sometimes you do a lot of work and it's discouraging, and I can appreciate that. That's why you need an ecosystem. You need a support system so people can be there to encourage you, to help you, to support you, as sometimes, things are not always obvious or may seem a bit discouraging. So that's kind of the end of our segment here this evening. So Tammy, is there anything else you'd like to add as we end?
No, I mean, tonight's session, there's a lot to take in, and everything's about assignments and accountability. So choose a skill that you want to improve on and find resources to improve on that skill that's going to move the needle for you. Okay, so do that. We'd love to hear, message us. You guys know WhatsApp, Messenger, however way you want to connect with us, Telegram. We're on all platforms, and share with us what you want to do. So we know that you're following through. What is the one skill that you want to evolve in? And what is the resource? What are you using to evolve in that skill? So we know what you're working on. Okay, so we can help be part of the accountability process for you.
Absolutely. So everybody, thank you so much for being so kind. And many of you have participated, and that's wonderful. And maybe some of you, maybe you didn't really participate much, but it doesn't mean that you're not willing to do all the things that we talked about. Again, that is entirely up to you. You don't have to prove anything to anyone. This is your life. We're just here to give you some guidance based on our experiences and our own life, and hoping that we can influence you in a way that will positively impact your life. So have yourself a wonderful, wonderful evening, or rest of your evening. And keep in mind that we do have a promotion right now with Max International where we got 3 Max 1 for $145. I would grab this thing really bad. In fact, I would make sure that I know Tammy are going to replenish her supplies, because we haven't been taking Max 1 since last year, since the beginning of the year, actually. Since last year we started, and
December.
the bottle ended in the beginning of the new year, and we haven't had since. Now it's out and it's open. It's in abundance. So take advantage of this here, folks. I'm telling you, Jonathan is really focusing, and his main priority is make sure that there are products in people's hands. And that's why these promotions right now are there for you to access this product at a cheaper price.
And
So
what
have
a great
yourself a
way to
wonderful
get a hold
evening.
of prospects, Chris. It's a perfect time to get a hold of prospects. Everybody wants deals, right? So it's a perfect opportunity to get back to them, to let them know about the promotion. And it's till the end of August. So they have time to work their budgets, if they're on budgets, to be able to purchase the Max 1. So
Wonderful. Well, have yourself a wonderful evening, folks, and we will talk to you on our next session on Monday, and we'll tell you what we're going to be covering. So it's going to be something new, because we've covered the 4 weeks, and we have some wonderful ideas we're going to share with you. Have yourself a great evening, folks, and bye for now.